most retailers, if you went and spoke to your customer support team today and asked them what are the top three things that are happening, they would tell you straight away. They know they're dealing with this every day, and you probably will be surprised, right, in terms of what you would hear. So sometimes it's that simple. It's engaging with your support team, what's going on.
Let's Talk Marketplace.
The Marketplace podcast with Ingrid Lommer and Valerie Dichtel.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Marketplace. It's Ingrid again, and it's great to have you with us today. And today we've got a very hands-on topic for you, because if you're selling on marketplaces, I'm sure you know the feeling. You log in and there is a wall of customer tickets waiting for you, and it's not that easy to keep track of everything that customers want, especially if you're active on several marketplaces. So today we are going to talk about customer service on marketplaces, especially on multiple marketplaces, and how to turn these daily support headaches into a real growth engine. And to help me break this down, I've got two great guests with me today. So we'll be looking at this from different angles, I'd say. So I'm really thrilled to welcome Irene from Patemba.com. Irene is quite a powerhouse on the operational side. We're just talking about what she's doing on marketplaces, which is a lot. I think more than 100 global marketplaces or something.
130 at the moment.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, really looking forward to hear what you're going to say about that. And and joining her is the man providing the technological backbone for that kind of scale. And that's Gareth from eDesk. Yeah, so really great to have both of you on the show. Welcome.
Thank you.
Great, Ingrid. Thanks for having us on.
Okay. Right. So to start that off, I'll say, let's first have a few introductions. So, Irene, who are you? What are you doing? What is Patemba.com? And why haven't I heard of you before if you are active on more than 100 global marketplaces?
So my name is Irene. At the moment, I'm the operations support manager, but I worked for over 12 years in customer service with Patemba. Started small as a customer service advisor. Then grew into the normal steps like team lead, supervisor, went then as customer service manager. And only the last year I have left customer services really and are looking more at the operational side. Mm-hmm. Patemba is a middleman for brands that want to see how their products really are accepted by customers all over the world, without having to invest into their own customer service volume, really. And that's where eDesk comes in for us, because we wouldn't be able to sell brand products over 130 marketplaces without having the back support of eDesk, who brings all the customer inquiries into one platform. And that's great, really.
Mm-hmm. Okay, right. So that led nicely over to Gareth. So Gareth, who are you and who is at eDesk?
Yeah, well, thanks. You explained the product very well, maybe better than even I can explain it. So thank you for that. I'm Gareth Cummings. I'm the CEO of eDesk. I've worked in the company for nearly 8 years. I started off actually as the CTO, so I looked after the technology and the product. And then in the last 15 months or so, kind of stepped up and to be CEO as a business. eDesk, as Irene says, focuses on helping e-commerce sellers who sell online do customer support. And typically these sellers sell on multiple different locations, be it marketplaces, but also D2C and even these days social channels like TikTok Shop and so on and so forth. And as Irene says, we essentially connect to all those platforms and pull all the messages and all the orders into a single inbox, and that allows you as a team then to respond to all those different queries across those different channels. So that's really what we do in eDesk, and that's what we focus on.
Mm-hmm. Okay, leaves just one question open, Irene. How did an Austrian girl make her way to Nottinghamshire?
Oh my God. I think opening Europe borders was really the trigger point for us.
Mhm.
And at the time, my kids were babies, really. And we decided we want to go where we can grow, and ended up in Nottinghamshire.
That's really cool. And quite fitting for an international story, as is the one of
Definitely.
Pretendbite as well. Okay, so yeah, thank you to the both of you. Then I think we are set to have an interesting conversation about the world of customer service on marketplaces, which we will start right into after a very short advertisement break. Do you know when the king celebrates his birthday? I'm talking about the Dutch king, of course. In the Netherlands, traditionally, 27th of April is King's Day. And it's a major retail moment there, one that can generate additional revenue for sellers, if they understand how this occasion really works. Because King's Day is not a classic discount event. Together with our partner Bol, the largest online marketplaces in the Netherlands, we have analyzed which products truly perform during King's Day in the Netherlands and why simply offering orange items is not enough, though orange things do help. In the final phase, one factor matters above all, and that is delivery capability. In the Netherlands, next day delivery is a standard expectation, and if that reliability is missing, customers switch sellers. To support this, Bol offers seasonal campaign formats and clearly defined retail moments where relevant assortments can be integrated, provided sellers plan early and clearly separate occasion-driven products from evergreen ranges. And this principle does not only apply to King's Day, the same logic also holds for example, back to school or major sport events or other seasonal peaks. If you want to understand how to strategically leverage these preparation windows, you'll find our full deep dive with Bol on King's Day and other event seasons peaks in the show notes. Okay, then I guess let's dive into it. So maybe to start out with Irene, why don't you tell us a bit about your business on marketplaces and especially how that looks in the customer service area? So what are we talking about here? How many customer tickets do you have a day? How many different marketplaces and how different are they? So what is like the main challenge here for you?
So we are dealing with over 1,000 customer emails daily.
Oh,
really?
Okay.
Our challenges is we have a lot of marketplaces that have different SLAs. Response times are with Australia, Japan at completely different time zones as well. And if you would need to log in and out of marketplaces, even if it takes only a minute times 130 is already a lot of time gone. Really not possible to do. And we started small using Gmail really to begin with, then branched out into different options and finally ended up with eDesk, which really helps us to bring everything in. It also helps us to scale important tickets to make them priorities. So we are not working at a first come, first serve basis. It's sad for customer to hear, but unfortunately marketplaces dictate that. And some marketplaces say we want our tickets responded within 48 hours. Some come and say you need to respond within 24 hours. The next one comes. We have marketplaces that expect a reply within 7 hours. So that already brings the need to filter the incoming emails by priority. And with eDesk, we can set our own SLAs per marketplace, which helps us then to really look on a timely frame which tickets need to be addressed to stick with the marketplace targets, really.
Gareth, I think Irene has already touched upon the complexity that is behind these customer support doings on our marketplaces. So is that something that sellers often underestimate?
Yes, I think so. I think Irene explained it very well, actually. Each marketplace has its own rules and quirks, I guess, in terms of
Mm,
how they operate. Um, and typically you're not owning that customer relationship with a marketplace. It's through the marketplace where you're providing that support. And in fact, on certain marketplaces, if you don't adhere to those standards, those SLAs or those response times, you can actually be essentially punished or downgraded on those particular marketplaces. So not only does it impact the customer experience, it actually impacts your business.
mm,
So when you're selling on marketplaces, you need to think of it as the support element as actually part of the core infrastructure. Because again, if you don't respond, if you don't adhere to those SLAs, then it can actually downgrade your ability to sell on those platforms. And I think that it's not always apparent to sellers when they are entering those marketplaces to kind of how those rules work and how that particular ecosystem is.
mm. I mean, could you look into this in a bit more detail? So how do SLAs and platform rules and all the account health mechanisms that you have to look after, how they affect the way that your support is structured now? So maybe can you give us a few examples that go into a bit more detail?
Yeah, definitely. When you start playing on different marketplaces, really, you need to restructure how your team really works. They are not really solely customer service agents with a nice soft skill. They also need technical skill. They need the knowledge behind really what each marketplace expects. We have marketplaces that expect a reply in the customer's language, for example. So you need to have a system in place to be able to respond in that language at a level that is understandable. On the other hand, also look into social rules, for example, because yes, in English you have the you, which is used for both personal and polite. Other languages like German have a polite version and a personal version. If you would mix them up, we had that before, customers don't look kindly at things like that.
Yeah.
So really important. And what we have a knowledge base in the background, which is huge, really, because 130 marketplaces, some leaving, some coming. Nobody can remember everything of that one. So having this knowledge in the back for everybody to look into when they need to, when they are not 100% sure, is that marketplace now a free return for a customer, a paid return for a customer. You need that backup for your team to make them successful, really. It's also the option of templates that eDesk provides. So 90%, I would say, of our communication is really the standard thing. Where's my order? I want to cancel my order. What's my tracking number? How do I return my order? And there, templates are a time saver, really, because you have a format that's suitable for all your marketplaces. Second, you don't get the tone wrong, and it's done within 30 seconds, really, with eDesk. So we don't type really the standard replies out every time. That will take quite too much time for the agents. So templates is really to look into, and once it goes over the template stage, there is where our agents really are needed. The personal touch, maybe a solution that's out of the rule book, if I would say so, to make customers happy, to get a nice feedback, things like that.
Gareth, can you elaborate on that, especially this multi-stages that Irene just touched upon? So how do we decide what kind of customer queries are just the standard stuff that can be maybe even automized, and when do we escalate in higher stages? And is that different on different marketplaces as well?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think it's also it can be different depending on the seller as well. But as Irene says, I think typically where you can use automation is things like where's my order, I want an invoice, where's the tracking, those standard type of queries that come in all the time, and they typically come in on all different marketplaces. So they're the ones where you look to use automation because you want to answer them quickly, and you want to take the load off the team. As Irene mentioned already as well, you have customers or consumers in different time zones and different locations. So, it could be, noon at their time when they're sending you a query, but it could be 3 a.m. in terms of where you're located.
Mm-hmm.
So automation can play a real role in terms of that quick response time in the 24/7 global world that we live in. And alongside that multilingual capability as well, right? Because if you had to build up that language skill within your team, that's very difficult. Not only do you have to find the languages, you need to think about, because if you have a German speaker, but they go on holidays, what are you going to do for the 2 weeks when, so it's not just a single person, right? So I think that's where the multilingual capability within our platform obviously can help in terms of that scale and that global scale. So, and what we ultimately still believe in eDesk, that allows then your customer support team to be able to be focused more on, higher value tasks in terms of dealing with more complex queries, VIP customers, or even focusing on maybe what's driving some of the queries that are coming in to the support team. So like, what are the problematic areas, so you can feed that back to the business? So is there a particular product or SKU has a high level of returns, for example, or maybe there's some negative reviews coming on a certain product range. So when your support team have more time to focus on those and feed that back to the business, that's actually that leads to a much better overall experience for your customer. But if your team is very busy just doing without using automation, just trying to respond manually, that's difficult because every day is just, they're nearly firefighting, So we see it as use automation to, help you automate the routine queries. And then, then you can use your team then to focus on more high value items, and that becomes a good feedback loop within the overall business of what's going on.
On top of Garrett's, where I want to add customer service wise is, as a company, you should see your customer service team as the watchdog of the company, which I class it as that, because they are the point where they will know first if a product has problems. They will know first if a carrier is not performing as they should. They will know first if there is anything going on, because they receive the feedback, and you really have to rely on an open and free conversation with your customer service team to be successful really on your marketplaces. They have to look over, how is the marketplace performing? Are we close to breaching any SLAs? And then you have to adapt really. You have to maybe change your SLAs and make a marketplace that normally wasn't that of a priority, your priority, to keep that marketplace alive really. And really to say your customer service team is your alarm.
Yeah, we really believe in that in terms of putting the customer service team at the heart of the business, because I see it sometimes, and if they're, and as Irene says, they're every day they're hearing from your customers. If you just think about that, right, that feedback loop that is coming to your business every single day is really, really valuable, right? And I think I see sellers and e-commerce sellers, the more successful ones, put the customer at the heart of the business, because that feedback is so important. And often sometimes you see it kind of being pushed to the side or something as not as
Mm.
important, but it's so important, and it helps you drive that repeat business and that kind of flywheel. So yeah, I in the successful businesses I see that all the time in terms of that
Yeah.
it is put at the heart of the business.
Mm. I'd definitely like to go into this a bit deeper, a bit later, but before, like how customer service feeds back into your business, because I think this is something that many many retailers just don't follow up on as much as they could. But before we go there, let's talk about the first thing that has to happen before we can even think about utilizing the support in this kind of way, and that is automation. Because Irene, earlier you said you're using the templates that eDesk is offering for answering all these standard questions and stuff like that. So how far does automation go in these standard customer support area, and can you hand that over completely to an automation, maybe even to an AI, or is that something that still has to have a human have a look on it? So how do you deal with the standard questions at Petemba?
So yes, a lot of our answers customers get are automated because it doesn't need the input of a customer service agent, because with eDesk we have the data all in one place. When an order is shipped and a customer wants to know what's my tracking number, what's the carrier, we don't have an agent looking at that one. That's an automated response from eDesk, really saying like, okay, on that order, that's the tracking number. Put that in a pre-created template, send it to the customer. We have 130 marketplaces, but we have a very tiny customer service team, really, in
How many people do you
comparison.
have anyway?
18, I think, at the moment.
Okay, for over 100 marketplaces. Wow.
Yes.
Okay. That's
And
crazy.
that's only possible with having a support team, a support program that takes away the need of manpower, really, that can do these reoccurring tasks. And also, we learned, yes, we have native speakers in our customer service team that helps us with some inquiries where we need it, but they are all cross-trained. So everybody can answer every email, which means even if I speak English and German, there comes in a Czech, a Polish, a Spanish ticket. We can reply in our native language. eDesk translates that automatically into the customer language. Also the other way around, when it comes in, it's translated into the language we understand. And with that, we can really make sure no agent is overwhelmed with volume, and it's split evenly across the team. And if one agent is sick on holiday, we don't have that hole and the scramble to not hitting the SLA because we don't have that skill in our team.
Gareth, how much is AI doing for this standard part of customer service at the moment?
We're seeing more and more adoption. We built AI in the product, gosh, it was back in 2018, which it's hard to believe is nearly 10 years ago. It doesn't seem like 10 years ago, but we originally, because we recognized in e-commerce in particular, those standard, probably on average, when we look at it, maybe 70% or 70-80% of queries are around maybe 10 categories, like where's my order, I want to return, the things we're speaking about. So we recognized that quite early, and we built our own, I suppose, you could look at it as our own LLM back in 2018. Obviously things have surpassed that in recent times with OpenAI and ChatGPT and stuff like that. So now we plug into some of those LLMs, and that helps us drive adoption. And we're seeing quite a lot of usage on across our customers. But again, it's the same thing we're speaking about. It's just in terms of ability to automate and scale. I mean, it's so impressive. Listen to Irene, like 130 marketplaces. I think you said 1,000 a day. Is that what you said? 1,000 queries coming in a day?
It depends per day. We know it's not always like fluctuating. If something happens in a country, if there are floods, if there are winds, if Australia had recently wildfires, so the carriers couldn't deliver to customers, and you would be surprised how many customers don't know what's going on in their own country. I mean, they have wildfires in front of their door and are concerned why the parcel is not on time.
Are you then
So-
adjusting the automated messages, like
Yes, we
because
can.
like your parcel is late because there's a wildfire? Or how do you do that?
Yes, so there comes the human part in again.
Hmm.
We're on top of our carriers. We get regular information from our carriers saying like there are delays due to bad weather or wildfires. And it's a quick going into a template, putting it in, making sure every customer has that information. And you go on. And once that's the fires are extinguished, you go in, you take it out. Thing done.
Yeah, that's where we're seeing. It's a great example of where automation can play a role in AI in terms of the ability to when you have those lots going on in the world these days. So you have those events that happen, and you have that spike in tickets, or we see in customers. Obviously, there's different peak times. Be it obviously the obvious ones are like Black Friday and Cyber Monday, but for some of our customers, peak times could be the summer. Like they could be selling outdoor camping, right?
Yeah.
So March, April, May might be their peak period, and historically they might have had to hire temporary staff to help during those peak periods. But now they tend to use the AI and the automation to help get through that peak. They still have their core team, so they still use their core team, but they're able to handle those peaks and troughs without some of that, and that's a great benefit because and Irene will know this better than me. The operational overhead of trying to ramp a team in a short period of time and deal with all that is complex. So I think that's where we're seeing the ability to handle those peaks and troughs easier, and that helps in terms of AI and automation.
Okay. Right. I'd like to return to the question on how customer support can help grow your business or help even change your business after another short break. I'd like to talk quickly about our partner and sponsor Front Row. If you work with marketplaces, you probably know the situation. Your Amazon team optimizes retail media, your D2C team looks at CRM and lifetime value, and your performance team focuses on ROAS. But the customer doesn't experience your brand in separate channels. From the customer's perspective, it's all one journey, from discovery on social media, for example, to research on marketplaces, and finally to the purchase on whatever platform. And that exactly is what the new Connected Commerce Guide by Front Row is about. The guide explains how brands can connect Amazon, D2C, retail media, and CRM into one system instead of optimizing each channel individually. It shows why focusing only on short-term metrics like ROAS often hides the real impact that marketplaces can have on overall customer lifetime value on the marketplace and on other channels as well. You'll also find practical frameworks and a quick self-check to see how connected your own commerce setup really is and where you might still be operating in silos. So if you're responsible for marketplaces, retail media, or digital commerce and want a clearer picture of how these channels influence each other, then this guide is worth a read. You can download the Connected Commerce Guide by Front Row for free. Just check the link in the show notes. Yeah, as I said, I'd like to come back to some things, Irene, that you said before, which is how customer support is sort of, the baseline of your business and feeds back all the customer feedback into your own business. So can you give us a few examples on how this, how improving the support had a real measurable impact for your company?
So as I said, I started as a customer service agent. So I went through all the stages and I learned where I personally struggled really to be heard, or where I thought that's not really working, because before we were splitting markets by language really and things like that. And
Mm.
over our biggest business is over Christmas with a
Mm.
lot of customers ordering. And we had areas where the people we had for that language were not enough, just not enough.
Mm.
And training somebody for that period of time, you either had to bring them in early into the business, which costs a lot of money, then train them to learn all these marketplaces, to have them for maybe a month or two, and then go back to your normal level of agents. And that's not feasible. And second, training takes a lot of time away from your day-to-day tasks, really. And we really looked into, so over the whole year, we have our agents at a 80-85% level, I would say. Yes, you can stretch that over peak and they will do more, but you can't hold that for long. You can hold it for the 2 months with support of automatization and templates and everything. But if you keep that going, you would burn them out. So
Mm.
the help of eDesk helps us to now hit the SLAs as we need them. Don't overwhelm a tiny part of our customer service team. We can split that evenly over the whole team. And since then, since we made all these changes, we are quite successful and are able to hold our SLAs
Mhm.
even during peak periods.
Mm. Gareth, you said before how if the customer support has enough time to really, listen to the customer, because they are not stuck into answering tens of thousands of queries of where is my parcel, then things can happen and things can feed it back into the company itself, and maybe change a few things inside how you present your products or even the products themselves, maybe. Can you give some examples, some real life examples from your customers, maybe, where that happened?
Absolutely. I've seen it quite often, actually. Quite often our customers will be have a top selling SKU, so it might be top selling SKU, and it's so through a certain lens, that's a very successful product that they're very happy with. But when they surface the data, and this is some of the data we would surface in eDesk, when they look at stuff like maybe negative reviews that are coming on that particular product, or negative CSAT, or just general sentiment, they actually understand that actually that product, even though it's a top selling product, is being returned high and is actually driving to a lot of negative reviews coming back in our marketplaces. And that, obviously, that's not the experience you want to give to your customer, but also actually that impacts your ability to sell on that particular marketplace, because if your ratings drop, if you have higher refunds and returns coming back in, that actually affects your overall sale, where you would rank and how you can push in those particular marketplaces. So not only is it a negative customer experience, it also actually is impacting your ability to sell. So that's a very simple use case. But when I see, you'd be surprised how often I actually see that in terms of retailers are not aware of that.
Mm.
So when we speak about that feedback loop back to the business, it is those. If you went, in most retailers, if you went and spoke to your customer support team today and asked them what are the top 3 things that are happening, they would tell you straight away. They know, right? They're dealing with this every day, and you probably will be surprised, right, in terms of what you would hear. So sometimes it's that simple. It's engaging with your support team. What's going on? I mean, obviously, I'll talk about eDesk and the platform and all the things that you can surface, but also speak to the customer support team who are speaking with your customers on a daily basis. I think that's important. There's a big brand in the UK, Gymshark, and they're very successful and stuff like that. And I noticed during the week that the customer support team reports directly into the CEO. So puts it very much at the heart of the business, right? So I think for me, sometimes it is that simple. Like they're a very important part of your business. So speak to them, engage with them, and make sure that's happening in the business.
Irene, from your experience as a customer service agent, is that something that is happening? Is the CEO area of a company often talking to customer support agents, or have you not been heard?
Not as much as I would like to, but and it varies, I assume, from company to company. But when we started, and we had the owner of the company even go in, answer emails, look what's going on. And even if you don't do that, just take the time as upper management, sit beside an agent. You don't have to answer the things. Listen what's coming in, listen what the agents tell you, and you will have a better understanding, really. And yes, we do that. Especially after peak, we have our time where we want the feedback. What went well? What didn't go well? Where are the problems? What were the problems? And we learned out of these. And each year we are performing better by listening to our customer service teams, really.
I think I take that as your final word then, Irene, because please listen to your customer service team because they do know. Gareth, maybe last question to you because that is the quality aspect of it. Yeah, listen to the customer team. But if you want to find out if your customer support is up to par at the moment, is there a metric that you should begin tracking right away next Monday or anything else that you can, use to find out if your customer support at the moment is up to par or if you need maybe help?
Yeah, I think Irene, mentioned already SLAs. So what are your response times? That's a very powerful metric, but it will tell you a lot, right? And again, you'd be surprised sometimes if you're not tracking it, and then you discover actually it can be days or longer. Sometimes I see, but so I think that's the first metric you should look at. How quickly are we getting back to our customers? And that will tell you a lot. Hopefully you're pleasantly surprised, but sometimes you may not be. But that's a first step. And once you know that, you can set about trying to rectify that. And from there, I think that will lead you down a good path. So yeah, I think if it's one metric, that's a starting metric to start to track. And it's important. And again, I reiterate, for a lot of marketplaces, if you're outside of their SLAs, you will be penalized. It will affect your sales performance. Okay, so if you fix that should help in terms of your sales and growth as well on marketplaces.
I would also say your average response time per ticket helps you as well to find downfalls where you don't have enough technical support really for the customer service team. I would go away from one and done, really, because out of own experience, one and done is a nice target to watch. But the minute a customer emails back, "Thank you," your one and done is gone.
Okay.
And when I started, we were monitoring one and done, and there was always the question.
So one and done meaning like one answer and that's
one answer and no
you don't hear back
reply
from the customer. Okay. Yeah. Yeah,
the
rules
minute the
out all
customer
the
is
polite
happy.
people.
Yes.
I
Yes.
always say thank you when
Really.
when someone is helping me.
Which might
Okay.
make your
I've
customer
ruined
service
the
agent
statistics. I'm sorry
grumble.
about that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you get penalized for making a customer happy.
Yes.
In terms of,
That's an interesting point. Never thought about that. So here are my apologies to all the customer support people that I ruined their statistics by just saying thank you. I'm really sorry about that. Yeah, we should definitely change that. Yeah, I like that. I love that. That was a really interesting look into the world of customer support and especially the details and nitty-gritty things that happen here. So thank you very much, Irene and
Thank
Gareth, for this episode. Thank you for joining me
you.
today.
Thank you for
Thank you.
having me.
Right. And if you enjoyed all that, let us know how you deal with your customer service challenges. Looking forward to your input here and do tune in next time again. And don't forget to like and subscribe. You know how it works. Yeah. Thank you very much. And bye-bye.
You listen to Let's Talk Marketplace.
the Marketplace podcast with Ingrid Lommer and Valerie Dichtel.